All right, so now is as good a time as any to talk about desoldering, I suppose, since I have found the component that was misplaced, and I'm going to go ahead and desolder it. So it's this connector here. It's just one spot shifted down, so everything doesn't quite line up. So to desolder it, I'm going to use a small solder sucker, and the way this works is it's a spring-loaded device that has a piston inside. When you push it down, it loads the spring, and as that piston comes up, it draws a vacuum in the cylinder, and that sucks air through this end. In addition to air, it also sucks in any solder that might get caught up in there. So to desolder this, all I'm going to do is I'm going to melt the solder on the joint, place the solder sucker over the joint, and then go ahead and suck. And that removes the solder around the joint. And it doesn't do a perfect job, so a lot of times in tight joints especially, you'll continue to get a little bit of solder in there, but it usually gets you enough to where you can go ahead and get started removing it. So one of the reasons to not fully solder everything down in the beginning is because of things like this. So when you only have one or two joints soldered, what you can do is, if you still have a little bit of solder in the joint, is to melt the joint and then push it out. So with this one, I have two pins that were soldered down, so one on either end, and now I can just melt one joint, pull it out a little bit, melt the other side, and then just walk it out slowly. And again, like when you're pushing stuff in a little bit further, you want to make sure you're not pulling too hard, because again, you can delaminate that metal contact in the solder pad. So now I'll place this back in the right spot, right there, and I can solder it again. Alright, that's back in the proper place now. Alright, I'll catch up with you in just a bit.